What up, YouTube? Here with a post-fight video for the WBO Cruiserweight title fight that happened earlier today between the defending undefeated champion Lawrence Okolie defending his WBO belt against the challenger Michal Cieslak. Now, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly as far as his last name goes. If I am, good for me. If I ain't, hey, sorry in advance. But nonetheless, let me get into the post-fight analysis, give y'all my breakdown on this fight. Without any further ado, I'm going to tell y'all the results. Lawrence Okolie retained his WBO Cruiserweight title via unanimous decision in what was a pretty one-sided fight. He also scored a knockdown. I believe from what I remember, the 5th round, he scored a knockdown with a chopping right hand that caught Cieslak behind the ear, giving him a 10-8 round. In that round where the knockdown occurred, I personally had the fight score 9 rounds to 3, 117 to 110 in favor of Lawrence Okolie. Lawrence Okolie's 1-2 was, his key to victory. That right hand of his was connecting flush. I think, he could work on his fundamental and his balance and, keeping a firm stance when he throws that 1-2. But, nonetheless, that combo for him worked and it carried him to a victory in this fight. And I might add, not only the 1-2, but after throwing the 1-2, the old Klitschko trick, throw the jab in the straight right and then clinch. That was, the highlight of the fight. And as far as Cieslak went, he ain't no pushover. This was my first time watching him live in action. His only loss came from the WBC Cruiserweight champion, Makabu. So he's no pushover. He's a worthy contender. And, he tried to catch Okolie off balance when he would, lunge a little too much when throwing that straight right by countering them on the inside with a left hook or a short uppercut. He would find his mark here and there, but throughout most of the fight, it was Okolie using his reach advantage, landing that 1-2 flush, and having the fight at a range that Okolie wanted the fight to be fought at. And yeah, that's basically the story of this fight. Like I said, pretty one-sided. Okolie, he's one of the more recognizable names in the cruiserweight division. The cruiserweight division is a pretty slept-on division in the sport. Ever since Usyk unified all the titles after winning the World Boxing Super Series tournament and moved up to heavyweight, the spotlight ain't been shining on the cruiserweights. It's never been a weight class in the sport where it's had the spotlight like that. But it's got a pretty good mix, and Okolie is probably the most recognizable name in the division right now. You have Bredis who fought Usyk in the finals, and I would say other than Derek Chisora, Bredis gave Usyk the most trouble in Usyk's undefeated pro career. And Bredis was ringside doing commentary in a Super Mario costume. I guess he's trying to be more entertaining for the fans and make himself more, marketable and things like that. But yeah, they had a face-off after the fight. During the post-fight interview, it looked like both fighters wanted to make the fight happen. I say those two guys are the most recognizable names at that weight class. Bredis, who's the lineal cruiserweight champion, it would be a huge fight at that weight class. Not only at that weight class, but I'll say, for the sport period, especially when it comes to, two marquee names who hold titles at the same division. Any unification title fight between the two top dogs of the same weight class is a pretty big deal. And Okolie said, he's having more trouble making weight nowadays, so he's looking to move up to heavyweight. Like I said, his fundamentals he could work on as far as his footing and his balance, and him not lunging too much when he's throwing that straight right following the jab. And yeah, that might be due to the fact that he's having issues making weight. but you know, he said he wants the fight to be made quicker than as quick as possible. And Okolie is, you know, a up and coming fighter on the rise. He's, you know, got the support of England. England's got the best boxing scene when it comes to the local scene in the sport, and the English boxing fans always seem to get behind their fighters. Anytime there's a hype around the British fighter, the British public is always going to support them, and Okolie's one of them. He's selling out the O2 Arena, which is like the Madison Square Garden over there in England. So, you know, he's doing this thing. And him and Brettis, if they were to get in the ring, that would be an easy sellout fight at an O2 Arena. Or they could maybe have that fight hosted at like a soccer stadium somewhere in England. It would be a pretty big deal, especially over there in England, or Europe, period, because Brettis, I think he's promoted by a German promoter and he be fighting around there. But the cruiserweights, they got a pretty good mix, man. They got, you know, the WBC champion Michal, who was rumored to fight Canelo next, possibly, but obviously that's not going down. And he recently had a close a fight where he retained his WBC belt via split decision against a South African fighter I forget the name of. So he's in the mix. Then you got an undefeated French fighter who holds the WBA Cruiserweight title, and his name is Arsène Goulamirian. Don't know much about him, haven't seen much of him, but he's undefeated nonetheless. He's like 26, 27-0. He's doing this thing over there in France, but as boxing fans, it's someone that, you know, we should keep an eye on because he's doing this thing undefeated, and with a record like that nowadays as a world champion, that's an impressive record, 26, 27-0. And he's supposedly going to defend his title sometime in the future against another undefeated cruiserweight out of Russia. I forget the name of the next opponent for Goulamirian. I think his name is like Alex Igorov, undefeated 11-0. And that should be a good matchup. But you know, I don't know much about Goulamirian or Igorov. You know, France isn't a boxing state when it comes to the European boxing scene. When it comes to the boxing scene over there in Europe, the house of boxing is England for sure, Eastern Europe for sure, and Germany's got, you know, I wouldn't say like great local talent, but that's been a place where big time European title fights take place is Germany. But France has never had a big boxing scene like that. But Goulamirian, nonetheless, he doing his thing over there in France, and he's definitely in the mix. Undefeated cruiserweight champion who holds a major title at that division. But I don't know if Okolie's gonna stick around that cruiserweight. I know he and Eddie Hearns wants that Brettis fight next, and hopefully that's the fight that Okolie fights next, a title unification bout between him and Brettis. That's the biggest matchup that could possibly be made at the cruiserweight division. With that being said, y'all let me know what y'all thoughts are on this fight and what y'all want to see next with Okolie. And yeah, drop y'all comments in the comments below. Y'all let me know if y'all got a video giving y'all thoughts on this fight and y'all want me to go check that out. I'll gladly go check that out. Subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Anyways, y'all be healthy, be safe, and peace.